Have any of you ever eaten too much junk food and then gotten sick afterwards, feeling really nauseated, queasy, ill? Okay, then you'll understand why in a few minutes why junk food is bad for you. For instance, have you ever tried to restrain yourself whenever you went to the store, you saw the junk food? Each time you walked through any aisle, you saw junk food, junk food, junk food. Even at the movie theaters, you can't avoid it. It's right there in the concession stand, staring in the face like, buy me. So, no, you know. But another question is, have you ever checked the labels of particular brands, see how much sugar, sodium, or caffeine is in them? I'm guessing no. So that's why you shouldn't eat it, because junk food right now is still an ongoing fad, and according to some statistics, there were 300,000 people who died each year thanks to junk food. Yes, that is true. It is a true statement that I discovered. According to Eric Felcher, who was interviewed by CBS News, he said thanks to the processing, canning, and freezing of foods, it loses its flavor. Therefore, foods aren't nearly as good as when they're home cooked, boiled, or steamed. Another statement is about sodas. Yes, sodas. We all love that drink, that cold fizz on a warm summer afternoon. But did you know how much sodium sugar is in it? The sugar is like 48 milligrams. The sodium, I can't remember how much it is. But because of that alone, the water retention in our bodies is weakened, we get dehydrated, and therefore we end up more thirstier than ever. And over time there was damage to our kidneys, there was damage to our bodies, there was damage to our teeth. How do I know about this? Because last year, after consuming too much popcorn from Universal Studios, I had to go to the dentist and they discovered a cavity. That is a lesson for me right there. Never eat too much popcorn, especially if you get sick from it. And did you know that if people eat way too much junk food, they are likely to get depressed? Yes, that is a statement that is most accurate. According to another study that I found from Gizmodo.com, it said that those who eat too much junk food get depressed. And when they take antidepressants, they become even more depressed. So that's a very scary fact for you all. So that is why, as I understand it, junk food is bad for you if you overconsume it, if you overdo it, if you overindulge. Even when it comes to hamburgers. Yes, hamburgers and french fries. We know what those are. We've been to In-N-Out, Burger King, any fast food restaurant we've been to sells those. Even Coco's. Yes, I should know this. Did you know that in french fries there's a lot of sodium in it? They grease it, they overdo it sometimes, depending on the restaurant. When it comes to the burgers, they can be fattening. Even at the fairs, they have like fried butter, they have fried Oreos, fried, well, almost everything. So whenever you see something that is unhealthy for you, do not buy it. It's most likely going to cause you to have obesity or weight gain. Even destruction to your cardiovascular system, which you do not want to have happen. Alright, so that is a warning to all of you. That junk food is not something you should always have nor ever need. Thank you.
Carlos, what did you think? Carlos, you're not here? Well, that makes it a little awkward. He has a hard time telling us what he thinks if he's not here.
What?
Give me just a second here. All right, Janet, the rhetorical question's kind of okay at the beginning, although it looked like you're sometimes looking for an answer as well. I'm not exactly sure that you have to feel nauseated for junk food to be bad for you. If you eat junk food and enjoy it, does that mean that it's okay for you? That seems to be the way you're setting this up at the beginning, and that doesn't sound accurate. Look, I know what the subject is. It's junk food. The question is, what are you going to say about it? Ultimately, I guess it's trying to convince us to refrain from consuming it, so I think you need to be a little bit more forceful about that at the beginning. There's no preview of what the contents is going to be. It sounds like you're going to talk about health hazards, depression, and then, well, that's it. You know, health hazards, depression, and then we're back to health issues again. So there's not really a structure or a plot that we're following here. It just seems to be bouncing around information. The 300,000 people who die, I assume that that's the obesity number that you're talking about, and attributing that all to junk food is a little bit problematic. The quote that you had from Eric Schlosser talks about how it's really because of food being canned and processed and frozen that takes away some of the value of the food, but I'm not exactly sure that people would automatically assume that junk food would be frozen foods or canned foods or merely processed foods. So the connection between those points needs to be explored a little bit more. The sodium issue, I think you kind of developed that as a potential issue. You mentioned, for instance, the way it kind of creates some thirst. But the next thing I know, you're talking about tooth decay from popcorn, and that just feels like you've made a big jump there from one subject to another without letting the first one develop and giving us some real reasons to worry about those kinds of issues. The same thing with the depression argument. I think that there is an argument here to be made about how depression might be a result of the foods that people eat, or certainly the way they feel about themselves. If they don't eat well and they get obese, they may have other issues that are going on there as well. I think you could sell this a little bit more with some emotional power and give us some demonstration of how it is that that affects people's lives in a bad way, and maybe quantify it a little bit. For instance, if there's a statistic that suggests what percentage of people who are depressed could it be attributed to their diets, that would be something that I think would be helpful. On the presentation, I think you did a little bit better with your voice this time. I think you project a little bit more, and it's a lot more energetic. I like that. Your eye contact is really pretty solid too. Once in a while you have to look away. The things that are a little bit problematic, and you're going to notice this when you look at the video, you've got your one arm across your stomach the whole time. You're basically holding your elbow in your hand. It's down at your hips. Frequently you end up with your chin in your fingers, just kind of holding it like this sort of thing. And it looks like you're thinking about, well, what am I going to talk about next, as opposed to selling us the speech and connecting with the audience. And I think that that's problematic. All right. Thank you.